created your own haven in your room, complete with LED lights and a retreat you have built in your closet. You have learned to horseback ride and embrace your love of animals. You are filled with fire, passion, and an unending quest for more. And when you put your mind to it, you could do anything. I love you and wish you only good things in life, sweetie.
I'm up. Yes. Okay. I don't know how your mom made it through that without crying. We'll see how we do here. Hazel, Beverly, Bev, HB, Beverly, we love you. We're so happy to be here with you. So your mom said you like Taylor Swift. That's news to me. Oh wait, I think I know every word to Betty by now. What would Taylor say right now? Dom Perignon, you brought it? Maybe later for the adults, right? Maybe you can have a little sip. How about August slipped away into a moment in time? You were born in August, our red-headed summer girl. And it feels like just yesterday was August 2007, and we welcomed you, this incredible child, into the world. Being a parent is about remembering and letting go. And being a kid is about putting the little kid things behind you and becoming an adult. You're always the kid who wants to soar off to new heights. You see some giant rock and you say, let's climb it. Let's go way up there, as high as you can. Let's go so high that your mom's heart is in her throat, and I'm getting a little scared too. When you were younger, you would play in your room by yourself with your toys and Playmobiles and create these rich imaginary worlds for hours at a time. I quietly opened your door and peek in at you lost in this creative, delirious world, and I know that at that moment, everything was perfect. You have so much creativity and imagination inside of you, acting, dancing, singing, writing. It's been a joy for you and for us to watch and see you grow. You know, you don't have to tell me to go away every time you're singing or playing guitar. Every day you grab that guitar and sit in the curve and work at it, and I'm just your proud dad, and what's better than my amazing kids singing a beautiful Taylor Swift song. One day you might also like Tom Petty or James Taylor. Promise. What a year, Hazel. Who knew that you would become my barber and I'd have to pay you in digital Fortnite money to cut my hair? In a year when we have been apart, when so much has changed, Hazel, you were bringing us all together. In Judaism, we talk about tikkun olam, which means repairing or healing the world. And you have that power, that gift, as a young, powerful, passionate, smart, imaginative Jewish woman with her life ahead of her. You can heal the world. What's magical is that this event, your bat mitzvah, you're leading us today. You're reading from the Torah today. You're singing for us today, that you have brought all of us here and virtually together. Look at everyone here, how proud they are. Those of us in person and those of us who joined us on Zoom. We are here for you, and we're here to learn from you. You have said since you were little that when you grow up you're going to be a doctor. Your 7-year-old self said, I want to be a pediatrician doctor. And now at 13 you say, I want to be a pediatric surgeon. And like your Uncle Dan, who was inspired by the medical TV shows St. Elsewhere and MASH to pursue his own career in medicine, you have likewise spent the pandemic binge watching Grey's Anatomy twice. I fully believe that if you want to be a pediatric surgeon, that you will become a pediatric surgeon, and a great one at that. But I know that if you decide you want to be something else, that those dreams too will come true, because you are magical. But you don't need magic. You can do anything. You can be anything and do anything you want to do. Most of all, we are just proud and grateful. We are humbled every day to say we are the parents of Hazel Beverly. We love you. We are so proud of you. And we are so happy to be celebrating with you today. We love you, Hazel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam shehecheanu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
We thank you, God, for bringing us to this moment, this time and space in which we, Hazel, goes from being a child in our community to being that responsible adult. We continue now with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadavi Kadashime Rabba Be'alma Divrach Hirte Ve'amlich Mahute Bahayachon Uvyomechon Ufayed Hope Israel Ba'agava Uvisman Kariv Ve'meru Amen V'heshime Rabba Meverach Le'alvam Uvamei Almaya Yitbarach Yibrach Vishtabach Vipar Vit Ramon Vit Nase Vit Hadar Vit Hale Vit Halal Shemida Kusha Brehu Ve'Allah Min Kol Hirbata Kol Birchata Vishirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiron Be'alma Ve'meru Amen.
We rise either physically or spiritually as we enter our prayers with Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
It's our tradition that if you're wearing a talit, you take the seats on the four corners, bringing them together as we prepare to sing the words of Shema. These words that we sing remind us of our connection to God. As we bring the seat together, it reminds us that there are many different ways that we can connect to God. We can connect to God in moments like this of prayer, but also in how we choose to act in the world. We bring our seat up to our eyes as we sing together the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we continue with V'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadavarim ha'evech asher anohi mitzavecha hayom olevavecha vishinentam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech ukshotbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Lemon tiskeru vatzitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedosim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotziti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim l'hio bachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
In 1 week, we will have the holiday in which we celebrate Passover. We celebrate the moment when we as a Jewish people left Egypt and began our journey to the Promised Land. But it's not just on Passover that we remember this moment. It is each and every day that we remember how lucky we are, that we once were in slavery, But we were so lucky to have a leader like Moses, for God to be in our lives, to reach out and take us out of that place and to lead us on a journey to freedom. It now becomes our responsibility to look out into the world and see how we can help others go on that journey to freedom as well. We remind ourselves of this commitment when we sing the words of Michamucha, those words we sing as we cross the Red Sea. Thank you, Hazel, for singing those beautiful words and reminding us of that commitment to going on this journey out of slavery and to freedom. We continue now with the amidah, the central prayers of our service, reminding us of our connection to our ancestors in our past, to the power of God, and to the holiness of God and our community and this place. I invite you to please rise either physically or spiritually as we enter into the amidah.
Adonai, Sefer Taftita, Uvia Yitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevad U'alav Nevnehem, Leman Shembo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekin Avraham, Vezrat Sarah. Atah Yibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakota, Rav Le'oshia, Mechalkei Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim, Verofech Hovlim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Bishenei Afar, Micha Malach Mimich, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neheman Ata Lechayot Hakol, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechaye Hakol.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר, שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take a few moments now for our own silent prayers. It is a time to look within our own hearts and souls for the blessings, the reflections, the prayers that we have on this beautiful morning. When you are done, you may be seated.
Say shalom bimromav, uya asiri shalom avinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav, uya asiri shalom avinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav, uya asiri shalom avinu. Yossi shalom, Yossi shalom, shalom avinu, ve'yokol Yisrael. Yossi shalom, Yossi shalom, shalom avinu, ve'yokol Yisrael. Oh, say shalom in Romav, Uyasi shalom avinu. Oh, say shalom in Romav, Uyasi shalom avinu. Oh, say shalom in Romav, Uyasi shalom. Yosei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yoko Yisrael. Yosei Shalom, Yosei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yoko Yisrael.
We now arrive at really the pinnacle of our worship today, although I'm not sure we can beat that Oseh Shalom. But I think maybe Hazel's Torah chanting will also delight you just as much. We are so excited to engage in the ritual of the tradition of passing the Torah, which I'll talk a little bit about that tradition in just a moment. But first, I'm going to call on Hazel's brother, Cameron Weiner, to open the Ark, and I'm going to invite up generations of Hazel's family to participate in the ritual of passing the Torah: Susan Small, Harold Small, Ken Weiner, Ruth Weiner, Abigail, Brett, and Hillary to pass the Torah to Hazel. So we'll invite you to line up, and Cameron, I'll let you know when it's time to open the Ark. And I think we have a lot of people, so we'll move a little bit closer to the Ark so we have room for everybody. Cameron, why don't you come on this side of the Ark? Perfect, perfect, perfect. So Hazel, in just a moment, the Torah will make its way from the Ark to your arms. And really, it's gone a much longer distance than that. It hasn't just started at the Ark. The Torah, in fact, started when we received Torah at Mount Sinai. And through so many generations, and so many people who had the perseverance like you did to ensure that Torah would get to that next generation, ensured that it would get here today. And I even like to imagine that perhaps for generations, even beyond where your grandfather is standing, if you imagine this line had gone, that somehow in someone's mind they had this idea that someday Hazel Weiner would be here at Temple Isaiah to receive Torah. It is not coincidence that you are here. And what an amazing opportunity as you take Torah on for yourself, because we are putting a lot of hope and a lot of expectation on you, because we don't want that story to end here. We want you to take that Torah, not literally, but figuratively, the message and its traditions, and ensure that it will last for generations to come. And so I'll invite everyone to please rise. And it is with great pride and honor that we will pass the Torah. Cameron, I'll invite you to open the Ark. And I'll invite your grandfather to take the Torah out of the Ark, Hazel, and pass it l'dor vador, from generation to generation. We are gifts, and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope, and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. L'dor vador nagid gon lecha. L'dor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation. L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Hazel, I'll invite you to come back to the podium as you hold the Torah in your arms and sing for us the words of the Shema in the Torah service.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adoninu, Gadol Shemo.
Cameron, I'll invite you to close the Ark. I'll invite your grandparents to return to their seats, though we will see you again soon. And I'll invite Hazel and her parents and siblings to prepare the table, to move the podium, and then undress the Torah for our Torah reading. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu leHar Kodsho. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. Please be seated.
Today, Hazel is going to be reading from the book of Deuteronomy. Now, if you're following along in Jewish tradition, you know that we're actually beginning the book of Leviticus this week in our cycle. But as many of you know, that Hazel was to become a bat mitzvah in August, and she was going to be reading from the Parshat Shoftim, which is actually a perfect Torah portion for her, as you will hear in a little bit, because in the book of Deuteronomy, we have the Israelites preparing to enter into the land. They're learning what it's going to be like to be there and their responsibilities. And Shoftim is all about the laws. How do we bring justice into our world? And so she's going to be reading a little bit of the Torah portion from the Torah this morning, and then in a little bit teaching us a little bit more about how we apply those lessons into our world today.
For the first aliyah, to chant the blessing before the Torah reading, we call on Allison and Jordan Leeds, Hazel's aunt and uncle. Ya'amdu Aliza Bracha v'Yarden Avichayel aliyah Torah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'hiavo halevi me'achad she'arecha mikol Yisrael asher hu garsham uva bechol avad nafshu el hamakom asher yivhar Adonai v'sheret v'shem Adonai elchav kechol echav havim ha'omedim sham lifnei Adonai chelek kechelek yohelud levad mim karav al ha'avot.
If a Levite would go from any of the settlements throughout Israel where he had been residing to the place that Adonai had chosen, he may do so whenever he pleases. He may serve in the name of Adonai his God, like all his fellow Levites who are there in attendance before Adonai. They shall receive equal shares of the dues without regard to personal gifts or patrimonies.
And now we're going to turn our attention to our Zoom screen. And we're going to spotlight more aunts and uncles, Dan Wiener and Carrie Shar, and Matt Small and Amy Last Small. So we see you on the screen, and whenever you're ready, it'll be a little off, but we're going to hear your beautiful voices chanting together the blessing after the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torah tamet v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And we are so glad that you can join us, and we are incredibly grateful for technology that allows us to be together even when we are far apart. For the second aliyah, we now will turn back to our in-person bima, and we invite up Hazel's grandparents, Ruth and Ken Wiener, and Harold and Susan Small. Ya'amdu Rachel Chaya bat Avraham Simcha v'bat Chaim Daniel ben Baruch v'Chaim Shmuel v'Shoshana Etala Aliyah la Torah. Baruch Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki ata ba'el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha notein lach v'tilmad v'asut keto avod hagoyim hahem v'limatzei v'cha ma'avir ben uvito ba'esh kosei kesamim me'onen u'menachesh u'mchashev ve'hover haver ve'shoel ov ve'ijonin ve'doresh el hametim.
When you enter the land that Adonai your God is giving you, you shall not learn to imitate the abhorrent practices of those nations. Let no one be found among you who consigns his son or daughter to fire, or who is a ogre, a soothsayer, a diviner, a sorcerer, or one who casts spells, or one who consults ghosts, or familiar spirits, or one who inquires of the dead.
Blessing after.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Fist bumps.
We love you.
Thank you all. And now for the third Aliyah, we call in Hazel's parents, Hillary and Brett, and Hazel's sister, Abigail. Ya'amdu Helila Shoshana v'Barach Reuven v'Yasmin Yiska la'Aliyah la Torah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Keto avot Adonai kosei elech uvikval hatoevot ha'ele Adonai Elohecha morish otam mipanecha tamim tihir im Adonai Elohecha ki hagoyim ha'elech asher ata yorish otam el me'enonim ve'el kosmim yishmau ve'ata lochen natan lecha Adonai Elohecha.
For anyone who does such things is abhorrent to Adonai, and it's because of these abhorrent things that Adonai your God is dispossessing them before you. You must be wholehearted with Adonai your God. Those nations that you are about to dispose do indeed resort to soothsaying and ogres. To you, however, Adonai your God has not assigned the like.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten Torah.
Amen. And now, Hazel, for the last aliyah, we call you to pronounce words of blessing for the very first time as a bat mitzvah. Tamod, 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 ha-bachura bat ha-mitzvah, sarit bracha bat baruch reuven v'helila shoshana, laliyah la torah, chazak.
Baruch hu Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Navi mekir becha melchecha kamonim yakim lecha Adonai Elohecha elov tishma'u kechol asher sha'alta mehim Adonai Elohecha bechol reiv beyom hakachal lemor Lo osef lishmach et kol Adonai Elohai ve'et ha'esh hagadol v'hazot lo erech od ve'lo amu vayomer Adonai evai heitivu Asher daberu.
Adonai, your God, will raise you up for you a prophet from among your own people. Like myself, him you shall heed. This is just what you ask of Adonai, your God, at Horeb. On the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear the voice of Adonai, my God, any longer, or see this wondrous fire any more, lest I die. Whereupon Adonai said to me, they have done well in speaking thus.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yasher koach. That was beautiful. And I do think I would be remiss as the cantor of Temple Isaiah if I did not say, I hope this is not the last time we hear you chanting Torah or using your guitar to lead us in song and prayer. Indeed, your name is so appropriate. Bracha, what a blessing you have given us today. Beautiful, beautiful.
As the Torah is still out, we take a moment to think of those in our lives, our family, our friends, people throughout the world who need a blessing of healing. The sacredness of Torah, the sacredness of community reminds us that we have the power to support those with healing. We keep all of those names, our loved ones, in our hearts as we sing the words of Misha Berach.
Shabbat avotenu mekor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, And now we will prepare to return the Torah to the ark. So Cameron, I'll invite you to come back up and join your family as we dress the Torah and return it to the ark. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim haolam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim haolam omed. Etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomacheha me'ushar deracheha darchei noam bechol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva kaddish yameinu kekedem. Hazel so beautifully has chanted from Torah, has chanted from the Torah portion that she has learned, but now she also becomes a teacher of Torah as she shares her Devar Torah, words of teaching, with us.
In my Torah portion called 15, we have one of the most famous and important sentences in the whole Torah. To be tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice you shall pursue, it says. We're taught to seek justice here. Inequality and unfairness abound in our society. We have the opportunity to make a difference in the world. The double tzedek, or double justice, that is written in this command, stresses the need for justice in our country. It demonstrates how important creating justice is to a Jew. We are to assist others, treat one another equally, and strive to improve the environment in which we live. As I grow into a Jewish adult, I see many ways in which we need to pursue justice. We must demonstrate that Black lives matter and that all forms of discrimination are unacceptable. That people should be treated equally regardless of their gender or sexuality, and that everyone deserves a good education. This is just the start of the work that must be completed. Justice, I believe, is found in the concept of B'Tselem Elohim, which states that everyone is made in God's idea. We are all equal if we are all made in it, regardless of who we are or how we look. Each and every human life is valuable, and everyone is important. However, in today's world, this is not always the case. People are often treated differently. Discrimination can be discussed in a variety of ways. However, since I'm only one person, I was only interested in one approach. In our country, there's a lot of division. I am becoming about mitzvah today. This hasn't always been a privilege given to women, and it still isn't in some communities. So today, as I take on the responsibilities of a Jewish adult, I want to focus on the importance and meanings of women rights. I was excited to see Kamala Harris becoming America's first female vice president this year. It showed to me that while our country is changing and developing, there is still much more work to be done. For the same job, men are paid more on average than women, and men have more higher level employment than women. There is also the social standard that if a parent stays at home with children, it is usually the mother. Staying at home with their children rather than working in their field puts women behind men in terms of potential job opportunities. During the pandemic, more women have left the workforce to take care of their children during online school than men, which shows the unequal assumptions that are placed on a woman. I think that everyone deserves to be treated the same, and I hope in the future people will see that we're all equal. Ideas are passed down through generations, and this is particularly true for women. These standards were developed at a different time, and the assumptions about women's responsibilities in our society that were made in the past continue to affect women today. It is important for women to speak up and fight for their rights, and to take action when we are not treated equally. It is also important for men to support us in challenging the unfair stereotypes that are made about women. As we hear in today's Torah portion, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof, justice, justice you shall pursue, we are told that we must all speak out about injustices we see in the world and work together to make improvements in our communities. On this Shabbat, let us all be inspired to pursue justice in our world. Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, amen. Indeed, justice, justice you shall pursue. And Hazel indeed has taken that on for herself, not just everything she has done today, not just learning the prayers and learning to play liturgy on her guitar and chanting Torah and teaching Torah, but Hazel has a deeper understanding that to become a bat mitzvah is not just what happens during this service. To become a bat mitzvah is to become a knowledgeable and responsible member of our community. And so in lieu of a traditional haftarah, she's going to take the prophetic message, the message of the haftarah, the message of our prophets, and tell us how she has taken on, as her father talked about, tikkun olam, how she has taken on this message of repairing this broken world that we live in.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar be'en ve'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe avdu u'Yisrael amo u'Vinvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. I love animals. I spent a lot of time over the last few months trying to find a mitzvah project with animals. I really wanted to do something in person with animals rather than organizing a collection or donation drive. I started taking horseback riding lessons at a local farm with Temple member Joanne Peterson. We brainstormed different ideas of how I could help out at her farm, but it was hard to come up with something that would have a meaningful impact on the community. About a month ago, JoJo told me that she was getting 80 chicks and will be donating most of the eggs once the chicks were grown. I offered to help raise them and asked if there was other work I could do around the farm as well. I've already spent a day there and I plan to spend more days. Even though this is just a small effort with just one local farm, I still think it makes a big impact because it helps provides fresh food to people in need. Ultimately, I'm really excited to continue helping out there, and I'm excited to see the positive impacts with the egg donations and more. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Kol ha'alomim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'neman ha'omer ve'osei ha'mdeber u'mkayem shekol divarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah vel ha'avodah vel ha'anvim vel yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Liktushav linucha Lechavod Utaferet Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach Umarhim otah Yibarach shimcha Bifi kol hai Tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Hazel, you can just close that now.
Oh,
Just close it. You don't have to worry about the sheets
okay.
because you can take it. Yeah, just let them fly away. It's fine. We'll find them at some point in time. And I want you to just take a deep breath and let it out because you did it. Hazel, you have become a bat mitzvah today, and it was not easy. It was not an easy process for anyone as we take it on over the years. But I've watched you over the last number of months, and I've watched you today become that rock star of a Jewish adult. You have had to maneuver more things today during the service, from the wind to the guitar, to the prayer book, to the Torah, to be able to speak from your heart, to be able to teach us. Hazel, you are truly becoming this leader, this person who has this heart full of ideas and passion, full of creativity and love. And as I've watched you over these last number of months, as we've tried to figure out what would today look like, something that would be you in this crazy world that we're living in. And it has become exactly that. You have become rock solid of taking in all these various different pieces to make this day a day that is about you becoming an adult. And as I look at you and look just beyond you, I see that parking lot out there, which in a few months will be transformed into Camp Kefli. It'll become our social hall now in this time of craziness, where you're going to be in our leadership program. And you're not just going to be a camper running on there, because you're going to take that guitar, because you actually have no choice now, and you're going to be up on that stage, and you're going to be helping to lead the generations that come behind you of our Camp Kefli campers who you once were. And you're going to help them see the light of tomorrow. You're going to help them see that all of us can take something that we're passionate about, and through lots of hard work and dedication and a heart of gold, that we can be able to accomplish those. And I have seen that in you these past few months as you have taken that. And I'm so proud to be able to stand with you on this day that you step into that next stage. You have all of these skills. And when it goes into this time that we're living in, it's not just a time of the pandemic, but it's a time for the need for justice. And as you said today, it is important for us to go out and to raise our voices together. So I look forward to you being our leader, to helping us see where we need to raise our voice, and to hearing your voice inspire all of us to continue to do this important work, whether it's for women's rights, whether it's for all the other issues of justice that are in this world today. We need people like you to inspire us, to lead us, to guide us in words and music and teaching and more. And I'm so glad that I'll get to be by your side, being partners with you on this important work. And I invite up now your parents to come stand beside you as Cantor Corn and I sing and give you the blessing, the priestly benediction. This is a blessing that is done on important moments of transition like this. You can look forward, you can feel your parents' love, you can look towards the cantor and I know that's hard, as we sing these words as you enter into this next stage of your journey of Jewish life.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom.
May May God's presence always shine on you, in you, and through all the wonderful things you'll do in life. And may God grant you and your family, this community, and the world with the most precious gift, the gift of wholeness, the gift of peace. And let us all say together, Amen.
Amen.
You can go and have a seat with your family. Actually, don't sit down, because I'm going to ask everyone to please rise as we come to our concluding prayers, beginning with Elena.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts now turn to our loved ones who are no longer with us. We keep them in our hearts as together we recite the mourners' kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alman divrach hirute v'yamlik malchute, b'chayachon uvyomechon, uv'chayet d'kol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach leolam olamei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Dam miran b'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Uya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Uya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Once again, we say Mazal Tov to Hazel, and I'm going to invite her and her parents and her siblings to step forward just a little bit and turn around to face the camera so that everyone on Zoom can see you. We're going to sing Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov, and then following the service, it'll take just a minute or so, but please don't go anywhere. If you're on Zoom, stay on Zoom. Don't log off after our closing song. And those who are present, please try to maintain some social distance, but you can move a little bit closer to the screen. And in just a couple minutes after the service, we'll be sharing a tribute video that Hazel's family has prepared for her. Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov Yahelanu U'Lecho Yisrael Yahelanu U'Lecho Yisrael Yisrael. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.